Okay, she won't be seen
Regatta.
in the video.
You
want me to
pull the
slide
desk
the-
back?
Yeah, do you want her seen?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's a he,
He, I'm
but he's got
sorry.
a nice little cowlick on the top of his head.
Oh, he's got a blue halter on.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm just, is this you?
Me?
Oh, okay, thank you.
My name is Lisa Bailey, and this is Regatta. I am a volunteer puppy raiser for Canine Companions for Independence. Canine Companions for Independence is probably the largest service dog organization in the U.S. and one of the oldest, I would think, too. Don't. No, sir. We have 5 regions. Our region here in the southeast is in Orlando. They have training facilities in all 5 regions. We're fixing to get a new one. Don't. We're fixing to get a new one in Texas. Canine Companions trains dogs, 4 different types of dogs. So you have a service dog, which is with a able person to take care of the dog. And they have a skilled companion dog, which is a 2-person team, and the person is not able to take care of the dog themselves, and you have a facilitator that actually learns the commands. They have a hearing dog, and then they have facility dogs. We now have a bunch of courthouse dogs around the country. We've got, the closest one to us right now is either Tampa or Montgomery, and they're doing wonderful things in the courtrooms for victims. Regatta has a strange story. Regatta started, all of our dogs for CCI are bred out in California. And we have our own breeding program. They did try to do rescues, and with the temperament and everything else, it was better for them to breed their own dogs. Even still, only a third, probably only, yeah, a third, maybe a quarter of our dogs actually graduate as service dogs. Regatta started out in Montgomery Prison, federal prison, and the inmates there have a soft heart, and they weren't giving Regatta the corrections that he needed. He's kind of hard-headed. It doesn't look like it now, but yeah, he's kind of hard-headed, and he's being raised by Leanne Pickering here in Pensacola. My dogs just got spayed, so I didn't think it was wise to bring her. Roma's a softie, and Regatta is a male, and I usually don't get males, so it's kind of nice to try something different. A lot of the prisons, we've got 5 prisons in the southeast region that are raising canine companions. For some reason, the prison population have a better success rate. Theirs is almost 75%, or ours is like about 30 to 40%. And the prison over in Gadsden County is probably about almost 95% of their dogs graduate, unless they have a medical condition. I have a puppy. I get a puppy at 8 weeks of age. I keep the puppy for approximately 18 months. And then I turn them into advanced training down in Orlando, where they learn all the cool tricks. I teach them 30 commands, and the trainers down in Orlando then build on those commands and teach them all the really cool things: turning on and off lights, pulling down your bed covers, taking off your socks. And for small children and things like that, they can help you stand up if you should fall, and that type of thing. Once they go to advanced training, they'll be there for 6 to 9 months, and then there's a graduation ceremony. One of the things Canine Companions does with their graduation ceremonies, I get to go down, if my dog is lucky enough or behaves well enough to graduate, I get to go down and hand the leash over to its new graduate. Because I also volunteer with the Gaston Correctional, I get to see lots of puppies between 8 weeks and 2 years of age, and the amount of what I've learned about dogs and different dogs, I see a lot of different dogs in that age group, and so I can, I know I'm learning more and more about, what to expect. He should be interesting. He doesn't look like he's really hard-headed to me yet. I just picked him up a half an hour ago, 45 minutes. So I haven't worked with Regatta before, and he seems like a pretty mellow dude here. It's funny that Regatta, we don't get to name our puppies. All the puppies, when they're born out in California, they're given a letter of the alphabet, and each litter will have a letter of the alphabet. So when you go to matriculation or graduation, oh, are you an M mom? Are you an M, And Regatta is actually, his mom is going sailing today, so Regatta was an apropos name for Leanne to get this time. And he spends a lot of time at the Pensacola Yacht Club. As a puppy raiser, everybody always asks me, how do I give them up? And because I get to hand over the leash to the recipient, it makes it easier. It's not easy to give them up, but then I usually have a new puppy coming in, and so I get to play with puppies all the time. And any questions about Canine Companions?
But yeah, I have one. Do you guys pay for their dog food and their medicine, or? I pay for their food, and I can ask a vet if they'd like to donate their services, but it is all tax deductible. Canine Companions is a 501c3, and once a dog is trained and you're accepted into their program to receive a dog, their dogs are free of charge. Even though you have to go to Orlando to pick up your dog, or one of the other 4 regions, they also have dorm rooms there. And so you can use, when you spend your 2 weeks of team training, which starts on Monday, again, then you have a place to stay, so you're not even putting that expense out for going to Orlando. It is a matter of going to Orlando and driving there or whatever to pick up your dog. Right now our wait time, it depends on the type of dog that you'll need. I don't know how CCI does it or the trainers do it, but they always find the perfect match for the perfect person. And my first dog I raised, they told me that my dog was going to a guy, and I just thought, they got the wrong dog. But a drill sergeant from the Tet Offensive, and I said, you sure you're talking about the same dog? And Agatha and Matt were the perfect match. All of our commands are all the same. We all use the same command, sit. We also teach our dogs to go to the bathroom on command. That is, our command is hurry for that. And it does help when you're going through airports and things like that, because sometimes your connecting flights they're always at opposite ends of the airport, but Any other questions?
Do they prescribe what kind of diet they remain on? I mean, do they tell you what type of food to keep
Canine
on?
Companions has a lot of corporate sponsors. And one of our corporate sponsors is Eukanuba.
Okay.
So all of our dogs, for the most part, are on Eukanuba.
Now, some of the dogs, if they show up with allergies or that type of thing, they will be changed. But they try to get them on Eukanuba, especially into, when they go to advanced training, these people have 60 or 70 dogs in their kennels. And so if you've got, this dog on this food and that dog on that food, I just got one of my dogs back that flunked out of advanced training because she decided she was going to start barking. And we do have a speak command. And one of the ladies actually, and everybody says, speak command. If our dog barks when the doorbell rings, the dog is dismissed from the program. That's not acceptable for canine companions. Now, if it's a hearing dog, it will come alert you, if the doorbell rings, but it's not barking. But we do have a speak command. And she happened to be decorating her Christmas tree. She was in a wheelchair and she was decorating her Christmas tree, and the tree fell over on her. She made her dog bark, giving her the speak command all the time, and one of her neighbors heard it and realized that she was, that wasn't normal, and came over and, got the Christmas tree off of her, and, they all laughed about it and everything else. And
Yeah, he's high strung.
yeah. Actually, if you saw him when I showed up at the house, you would, you'd say he is pretty high. He was high strung then. Of course, I had treats. I've still got treats in my pocket somewhere.
You must have cured him because he looks pretty relaxed right now.
Well, a lot of times when you put the Halti or the Gentle Leader on, that calms them right down.
Most of the time, it's really kind of funny when we put our capes on our dogs. Their whole personality changes. It's,
How long is y'all's wait time?
our wait time, for the most part, is probably about 2 years, which really isn't that bad. Hearing dogs could be a little bit more because hearing dogs are only trained out in California.
What if you have to have a multitask dog for like mental and physical?
That's,
Same amount of time?
yeah.
Now, you said for people who qualify, they're free?
Yes, they're free of charge.
Okay, and if you want having a dog that you would want to be trained for a service dog, y'all don't take those in?
No, CCI doesn't do that. They, they have their own breeding program, and they ship dogs, puppies all over the country. I go to Pensacola Airport and pick up my puppy when I get a new puppy.
Is there a great demand for volunteers, or is there a wait
Yes,
list down there?
There's a great demand for puppy raisers. I mean, because of they discharge so many dogs, and they're very particular about their dogs. I mean, the slightest thing, and I haven't heard my dog bark since she's been back. A lot of times, and they think one of the reasons the prisons have so much success rate is because it's so structured that once they get into the kennels, they're not as stressed as, when you go into the kennels for advanced training, it's very stressful for a dog that's, used to being in a family, and, we're supposed to, all of our dogs are crate trained, and, but when they're at home, you don't stick them in the crate that often. I try to make a point of sticking my dogs in the crate just so because in the training rooms, they'll have crates lined up and, be working one dog, and you're supposed to be quiet in your kennel, and you're not allowed to whine, and you're not allowed to do,
So
And when we have dogs together and they're just being dogs and playing, there's still certain rules. They're not allowed to vocalize when they're playing. They're not allowed to growl. They can still play, and, they run around and jump in the pool and, have a good time, but, they have rules as far as playing and that type of thing too, so.
And you don't have to wear the vest, but y'all wear it. She said he has the vest on because.
Canine Companions ask us to put the vest on. And in the state of Florida, service dogs in training actually have same access as service dogs, which is kind of cool. That happened approximately 22 years ago. I was living in Tallahassee, and I had my first dog for canine companions, and I went to legislation and worked with the senators, learned the process, and we got service dogs and training also included. Now, CCI does not consider me a trainer. I have to ask permission, and if somebody says no, they don't want me in their establishment, CCI has asked me to leave. So if I go to when you're training a puppy, you have to be ready to leave. If the puppy's uncomfortable someplace, you don't sit there and, if you go to the movie theater and, the puppy doesn't like it, then you have to actually leave. So training a puppy and being out in public, you have to worry a lot about the dogs. We're gonna leave here and we're gonna go over to the NEX and go grocery shopping. If he's uncomfortable there, I have to stop my grocery shopping and take him home.
I get uncomfortable there, so.
Yeah.
Depending on how crowded it is, I'm just there.
So, I mean, there's certain things, and when you have a new puppy, you don't stop at the grocery store if you've got a dog in your car. If you're running into, I call them 7-Elevens because I grew up in South Florida and we had 7-Elevens, but if you run into Tom Thumb, you have to get your dog out of the car, you've got to dress him, and you've got to, take the dog in. You don't leave the dogs anywhere.
Oh, so he doesn't travel in the car in the vest?
No.
No.
He'll have his collar on. I always have a collar on him with identification tags on him. Just because if there should be an accident, I want people to identify him. When he was born and when my puppy were born, CCI wasn't microchipping any of the dogs. They have now started microchipping them after 37 years, which I think is a good idea. But even still, and I'll always have a tag on them.
But how about as an adult, fully trained service dog? Would they travel in a vest or probably not?
Probably not. They're not required.
No, I just meant for convenience. It
Yeah.
seemed like it'd be easier to put the vest on in the house, but maybe it's
Sometimes,
uncomfortable.
it depends on, some of the dogs actually have harnesses and everything else, so those would definitely have to be taken care of.
Right, yeah,
Taken off
Big
of them
leather,
and that type of thing. Vests like this, some of them have pockets on the sides of them, and we're all kind of pack rats, and we put things in the pockets and everything else.
Now, you said prisoners train the dogs?
Yes, in Gaston Correctional, we've got one in Louisiana, we've got Montgomery, and there's a couple of more. Bay County used to, and I used to work with Bay and Gaston.
Where's Gadsden?
Gaston is just right outside of Tallahassee. And that one of the really cool things, and they always need volunteers also to take their dogs out. Now, when I go over there, I take their dogs out for approximately 2 weeks, but my dog goes to prison. Now, my success rate is higher because I think my dogs go to prison. But I'll take a dog out and I'll make sure I've got tags that say help I'm lost with my contact information on them, so that when I take a dog out of prison, and that's probably the most time that if somebody was gonna get scared, that, and bolt or something else like that, I wanna make sure that they've got some contact for me. Although all of our dogs are tattooed also.
Oh, really? Where?
Yeah, in their ear.
All right, we're running a little short.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
come on.
Appreciate the information.
Regatta.
Bye, Regatta. Have fun shopping.
Okay, Diane? I'm not sure where Karen is at.
Oh, I should get here.
All right.
Yes.
Very good.